Hi there. Welcome to Bourbon Turntable. This is a show that blends a love of music with a love of whiskey. Very fun show today. This is a blast. This is our first international show. So the international guest is Jesse Redwing. Jesse is an outstanding blues musician from Sydney, Australia, and just a little behind the scenes stuff for you. Uh, I don't know if you realize it or not, but we're not close in terms of time zones between Sydney, Australia, and Louisville, Kentucky. What I did was if I look drowsy during the show that you're about to watch, it's because I was started recording at 6 a.m. Uh, Eastern time in Louisville, Kentucky. And I think it was like 8 p.m. in Sydney. But at any rate, Jesse is great. Super, super guy. Um, he is my euphonium brother, which you'll come to find out what that means a little later. And just a really, really sweetheart of a guy and extremely talented. His most recent record is called Trim the Fat, and it is wonderful stuff. If you're a fan of the blues, you really need to check it out because it is top notch stuff. But before we join in with Jesse, I do want to tell you about the Bar Cart Co-op. The Bar Cart Co-op is a collection of friends who provide content for the whiskey enthusiasts. Shows like Distillers Talk with Alan Bishop and Christy Atkinson. Alan and Christy will talk with distillers from across the country and around the world about any and everything distillation. Alan also has a couple more shows. One is called One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute. If you've got a question about something that involves distilling, ask Alan. Alan's got an answer. He'll post a video response to it so we can all learn from your curiosity. Alan also has a show called If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. This show takes a departure from the whiskey things and gets into the spiritual things, the supernatural things. And it's very interesting, has some fascinating guests. So be sure to check that out. My Whiskey Den every Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. My Whiskey Den is where craft whiskey is king with Pat and Mike and Mitch. They do a great job with their guests and with some interesting tastings. And it's fun to hang out with the folks in the chat. There's a little bit of smart aleckiness going on there. Whiskey in My Wedding Ring with David Levine. David is a really great guy, smart guy, and he has a wonderful blog where he will post reviews of different spirits. And he has a podcast where he will post his interviews with distillers. Then you got our show, Bourbon Turntable. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, I would really appreciate it if you would push that subscribe button. Love for you to hang out with us each and every week. We also have podcast platforms available to you on Apple, Spotify, and Google. So, in terms of Australian whiskey, I don't know a lot about Australian whiskey. A lot of it tends to be more in the, um, you know, uh, Scotch style, single malt style, but not everything. And the most notable distillery in Australia is a distillery called Starward, and they've got I got this little sampler pack just to check it out. There are three 200 milliliter bottles of different product. This is actually a double grain. It has wheat and malted barley. Then there's this one that is a Solera single malt. And then there is another one that is finished in red wine barrels. So when I tried it, it's good, different. Wasn't anything that just made me go, wow, I've got to get a lot more Starward in my life. But the price of the little sample uh, pack was not exorbitant. So, check that out. If you want to have something on hand when you're sitting around trying different things with your friends, you can say, hey, have you had this before? Chances are they probably haven't. So it'll be something fun and different for you guys to try together. All right. Enough of all of that. Let's get on to the show with Jesse Redwing, blues musician extraordinaire from Sydney, Australia. Well, we have a very special treat here today on Bourbon Turntable. We have our first international show, which we've already on take 2 of, because apparently Australia's internet service is a national disgrace. At least that's what Jesse said. Jesse Redwing, welcome to Bourbon Turntable.
Thanks so much for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, well, this is exciting for me. I first learned of you and your music through Chris Tapp of the Cold Stairs. He had posted a couple of your songs, I think, on Instagram, and I immediately reached out to Chris and asked if he knew you and how I could get in touch, and you were very gracious to respond and to agree to give us a little time here today. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, Chris is a sweetheart. I got to spend some time with him over in Europe in May.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah, so we actually showed up at the airport in Belgium on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
So we shared a van ride back to our tour manager's place, and then played at the same festival the next day, Roots and Roses in Lacine, which was an amazing festival.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, that's great. So Jesse, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you live in Sydney now. Are you born and raised Sydney?
Pretty much, yeah. My dad's from California, so I did spend some time in Marin and Sonoma County when I was in high school.
Okay. So a little bit of time here in the States.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I come back every year.
Okay.
Ironically, my Australian mother now lives in San Francisco, and my American father lives here and considers himself a true blue Aussie.
Well, how the tables turn. So musically speaking, what was the first instrument you picked up and started playing?
It was actually, I want to say it was a euphonium, which is like a small tuba.
I played that in high school. Yes.
No way.
Yes.
My brother. Yes. Euphonium for life.
Yeah, usually you tell somebody you play the euphonium and they look at you like, you're insane because nobody's ever heard of it. That's great. I love it. I love it.
But in reality, it was probably piano. I did like Suzuki piano lessons.
Okay.
Which is all about learning by ear.
So when you the keyboards that we hear on your albums, is that you playing?
No, I forgot how to play piano, or I never was that good, I guess. I just played when I was little. I know I can do like one blues song, the classic one.
the one blues classic song, yeah.
Yeah.
When did you pick up guitar?
When I was 15 or so.
Okay.
So before that, I was playing bass, and I was like a little punk rock skateboarder playing bass, and like I actually wanted to be Jack Bruce or Geezer Butler, be like a singing songwriter and get bass player,
Nice.
But there was no one playing guitar in my hometown, so I just had to do that as well.
Now, most of the people we have on the show, if they're playing guitar now, they switch to guitar because the girls like the guitar players better than the piano players, saxophone players.
Bass players. If you want to get the chicks, you got to play bass.
I need to tell my bass playing friends here in the States they need to go to Australia.
Absolutely. My bass player is a 75-year-old legend who's used to play in all the Australian like rock bands in the 80s and stuff. Awesome. So he's like been around the block. He has a few stories which I won't go into here. But
well, I don't know. Yeah. We may want to get your bass player on. What's he doing?
Needless to say, he tells me, "You would have loved the 70s." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, mate. Free love, free love, mate."
So growing up, what was the music you were listening to then? Was there a lot of influence from your American father in that, or
yeah, Dad had a great CD collection. So my dad had thousands of CDs, and then one time we got robbed and someone stole all of them, and then we got to pick out from a like insurance catalog.
Yeah.
So we all picked out hundreds of CDs, and that's where I got my whole like library basically.
Okay. So what were the kind of things that you picked out when you had that
Because
chance?
like he bought all these CDs at like the pawn shop, you know, garage sales.
Right.
And so he paid like $1 or something for a lot of these CDs, but we got all these brand new ones. And at the time, I just loved like Australian punk bands.
Okay.
There's a band called Frenzel Rom.
Okay.
Anywho, yeah, that was like the era of pop punk in the 90s. So that was like what I was listening to. And
Great.
then actually, skateboarding has a lot to do with my musical influence because skateboarding videos always had great music. You know, they'd have Eric Burden, Zeppelin, a lot of the British blues guys I originally discovered around the time I was about 12, 13. And then I kind of obviously, once you hear that, then it opens up Pandora's box and then you hear the real shit. So,
Right. Because you hear one Led Zeppelin song on there and you think, wow, that's great. And then you just kind of go down that whole rabbit hole.
you gradually find out where it all came from.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to ask some stupid American questions, if that's okay.
Please.
Because I know that what we get of Australian or music from Australia has got to be just highly filtered. But I want to ask you just about a couple of Australian bands, and the first is Midnight Oil. It was Midnight Oil as big in Australia as we perceived them to be, at least when I was growing up. I mean, that's been a while
For
though.
sure. You know, that was a little before my time, but they were
Sure.
certainly huge in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. This is, tell my age, but I remember we had a show here in the States called Friday Night Videos, and this was before MTV. or maybe around the same time as MTV. And me and my friends, we would stay up late at night waiting to see Beds Are Burning by Midnight Oil, because we just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. What about a band like NXS?
Yeah.
Are you there?
What about him?
Oh, yeah. What did the band like that have any influence on you?
I mean, I've heard their music. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of NXS.
Okay, fair
myself.
Fair enough. And then I guess the last would be AC/DC. I mean,
Yeah,
they're huge
of course.
worldwide.
Bon Scott.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're obviously a Bon Scott guy.
And one of their first gigs was at my local community center. So
really,
there's a bit of history there. They kind of came up around the northern beaches of Sydney where I grew up.
Yeah. So what introduced you to the blues?
Well, yeah, like I said, I think it was skateboarding videos. And Eric Burden and the Animals, there was a skateboarder who had two of his songs like in his video part. I think it was When I Was Young, and I can't remember what the other one is now, but that pretty much sent me down the path of discovering all the British blues guys. And Peter Green's another one of my favorites, of course, obviously.
Yeah.
He's up there. And then, like I said, that just led me back to everything from America that I love, all the real old black dudes,
Yeah. There's a lot of R.L. Burnside Jr., Kimbrough. I get that vibe from your music.
Yeah, well, they're kind of the coolest cats who came along a little later. Junior was still going into this century and stuff. So he's got to be one of the most soulful cats ever. And that's a little bit more in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Which is nice. It's nice seeing Buddy Guy as well. He's a living legend, but his show these days is a little bit, well, I guess he's kind of retired now, but he was just doing that like History of the Blues show. It was a bit, I don't know. It's not really like a set of his songs or what I think of when I think of Buddy Guy anymore.
Then at what point did you take up the harmonica?
I actually broke my arm at one point, so I just picked up the harp while I was sitting there, the cast on.
So was that out of boredom or out of necessity or both?
Well, I wasn't paying the bills with the blues at that point, so it wasn't really a necessity. More just something to do. Nah, the music just spoke to me. When I first heard like Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, that was like, it just hits you in the soul. It's undeniable.
Yeah.
So of course I want to try to make that sound, and to me it's just still the coolest music ever made, and always will be. And so many people feel the same way. It's kind of crazy, but yeah. So I was just chasing that sound. If I couldn't play guitar, then I was gonna may as well play the harp.
Yeah.
I don't know. Someone probably gave me one or something.
Yeah. Is there a big blues scene in Australia?
I wouldn't say it's big because our population's only like 20 some million. So there's not that many people here in general.
Right.
But considering that, it's a very tight scene and like very connected all over the country, and everyone's tapped in and really supportive and just awesome. So
that's good.
I really have no complaints about the scene here. I think it's really nice, and there's tons of great acts for how many people we have here. So
yeah,
we're punching above our weight.
I like it. When I listen to your music, it's kind of like a master's level class in the blues to me, because you touch on so many genres of the blues within your music, and I think that it's a great way if aliens landed and they wanted to hear the blues. I think giving them some of your music would be a way to introduce them to, okay, here you go. Here's a wide variety of the blues. Is there a particular sub style within the blues that you really like to play?
No, I think like what you just said was pretty accurate. I've taken influences from all over. You know, I've listened to everything from the history of recorded music in the blues, from Robert Johnson on, like whatever, Blind Lemon, Lead Belly, all those like Blind Willie McTell's one of my favorites. So from all the history of the last century, basically, I love it all. So there's probably a little element in there of everything. But then again, I have just punk DIY sensibility. You know, I don't want to be too slick. For me, the blues has to be a bit dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's why I do it, to play live and to just bring the vibe. And I love it just going in a jam with people, especially when you just don't know where it's going to go, and it'll just peak and something different happens every time.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you mentioned that you get to the United States about once a year. Do you come over and do you tour, or you just come over to visit family?
I've done a bit of both. You know, I've done some mini tours over there. I haven't hooked up with a booker or anything yet. I've just been booking my own things, but I have had some great gigs over in the States.
Yeah.
But in terms of linking up like a longer thing, probably look at doing that next year.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. So I want to make sure that everybody knows where to find you, and we'll do this again a little later. But tell everybody about social media and how they can find out information about you.
There you go. Just Google me, Jesse Redwing. I think I'm the only one, although there is another guy who lives on a reservation in Arizona. So I hope he doesn't hear this and sue me. But half of nothing is nothing. So don't bother suing me, Jesse, wherever you are. I think he plays music too. I'm not sure if he's touring, but anyway, just Google Jesse Redwing, all the platforms. You'll find me out there.
Music is available on all the streaming services as well.
Absolutely.
And your most recent album is Trim the Fat. And
boom.
So I know that the title comes from a lyric in the last song on the album. But why did you choose to call it Trim the Fat?
Yeah, well, I wanted to name that song Trim the Fat, but it was saved on the demo as a really long title that I'm not even want to say. So anyway, that's what the official name is. I don't want to end up like that. And
Yeah.
so I was like, that actually worked out well for me because now I've got something to call the album.
Yeah. And I think it fits because it's a nice tight little, what is it, 6-7 song album.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Should have been 9, but I ended up cutting 2.
yeah. No, it's a
So
wonderful
literally
album.
trimming the fat. Just
Yeah.
keep the good ones. There's no point releasing things that you're not 100% sold on, you know?
Yeah. And this is album is 100%. Everything is great. There's a lot of texture and depth to this album, in terms of your guitar, the bass, the drums, but then you're just layering in the organ, the harmonica, vocal harmonies, and then your vocals. It's got a lot there. There's a lot going on with it, and it's a little subtle in the way you do it.
Yeah, right. It's interesting because it's just so natural for me, you know. I don't think about it like that at all. I just go in there and play what I want to play. And
Yeah.
that's what it ends up like.
If that's natural, that's really something, because I think a lot of people put a whole lot of work and effort into getting that kind of depth out of the sound of their music.
Well, I'm lucky I have a great producer, Stephen Mowat, who's really understands me and my sound and knows how to pull it, because it's pretty rare to find guys who know how to get a good room sound. And I always start with the live band in a room, and then, like you say, I'll go in and layer other things onto it. But yeah, for me, it's important to have that vibe.
Yeah. Do you use a consistent group of musicians in your band? Or you just
At the moment, yeah, I've had Harry on bass, Harry Bruce, this dude I was talking about before.
Yeah.
So he's kind of been holding it down for about 5 years now.
Oh, that's great.
And he came with the drummer, Luke Herbert, who I try to get, but you know, he's busy, so I don't get him all the time. I actually have competition from one of the original Wiggles, the OG Wiggles. Murray, the Red Wiggle. He stole my drummer. So
Murray, the Red Wiggle.
Against him.
Now, there's a blues song in that. Murray, the Red Wiggle, stole my drummer.
The Red Wiggle stole my drummer. Yeah, it's not bad, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd work. The video, at least, would be really good.
I'm sure Murray would be in it as well. He's a really nice guy. So it's hard to stay mad at him for stealing my drummer, because he's a lovely dude.
So what kind of, okay, I don't want to get down this too far, but what kind of music does Murray the Red Wiggle play now? What does he play?
Band's called the Soul Movers, so he plays soul, I guess.
Okay. That's just wild. That's wild. So when you're touring, what kind of band setup do you have for that? Do you have a full complement, everything represented that's on your the album?
Nah, I don't usually bother having keys. I just have the trio.
Yeah.
But it's always nice when I get more people to jam. So I'm a jammer. Anytime there's someone there I know they can play, they're up.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
It's up to me anyway. Sometimes I say no, but I always ask. It's fun for me to have different elements going on.
Yeah. So the album starts out with the song called Run DB. Who is DB?
So that's a song that I wrote with my sister, actually. My sister lives in LA, and she's done acting work. She was on that Nashville TV show.
Really?
And wrote songs for it and stuff. So that was really cool for her.
That's very cool.
And we got to spend time with her in Nashville when they were shooting. So that was awesome. Met the cast and went to all the gigs and all the places around town.
I remember watching that show. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a really good show, you know, for a soapy or whatever you call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It had really good music.
Yes. The music aspect of it was great. So what's your sister's name?
Her name's Rainey Blake. She also has a fake stage name.
It's all right. So Run DB, I mean, it first track, it hits and it hits quick and it's upbeat, kind of got a not quite rockabilly, but a bit of rockabilly feel to it. And harmonica shines on this song most definitely. Um, and it seems just in listening to your music, if you go back to I'm Coming On, which was what 2017, I think, and then Light My Way, which was 2020. It feels like the harmonica grew in prominence in your music over time. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I've got a little bit better.
No, I think
anyway, I didn't actually answer your question before about DB. It's DB Cooper is a famous skyjacker, as I call him. He stole $200,000 and he jumped out of a plane over Oregon and never to be seen again until he came out of the woodwork and he wanted to be interviewed for this movie. So the movie was like interviews with this guy, and then there'd be reenactments in which my sister was playing Rita Coolidge because she wrote a song about him as well. Anyway, so we worked on the soundtrack, and that song was in the end credits.
Okay, very cool. I did not realize that. That's very cool. I love it. And next song is Can't Afford Your Love, and that just shows off your vocal range, your versatility, because you start out with that little low gravel, and then before you know it, it's beautiful tenor voice, and you're I mean,
boy's got range.
Boys does have range. What were your inspirations as a vocalist growing up? Were they just because there's some things in the blues that are like that, but you're kind of having to pull from a few different directions, a few different areas to get that type of versatility in what you do.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've got a pretty diverse range of influences. So you name it, like I've heard it all. So
yeah,
you just absorb things. But yeah, I don't know if I had to pick someone. I'd go back to Eric Burdon and Peter Green. They were just my two OG heroes from the start.
Yeah, but very, very impressive the way you use your lead vocals on this song, and your guitar really plays around in a lot of where might be an empty space lyrically. That guitar just kind of plays around in there, and it's just very cool. It's a very, very cool song. Might be my favorite on the album, but I'll probably say that 3 or 4 more times.
Nah, that's my favorite too. I agree with you.
Yeah. Then
the way I do it now as well, the songs, it's funny how they always keep evolving. It's like the way that I do that song now is like even more fun. Maybe I'll have to re-record it for something or put it on a live record.
Yep. Some sort of live performance would be very cool. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Then Monkey Man.
I did a gig on the weekend with great sound, so there's a chance I can release another live record from that.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, when you play live, how much of your own stuff are you doing, and how do you much covers?
Yeah, I just I do all the blues standards and stuff, and more obscure ones. But it just depends on the context. Like if I'm doing a festival where people come to see me, then I'm playing all original. But if I'm playing in a bar somewhere, then I'll play whatever I feel like playing.
Okay. Do in Australia, do people yell for you to play Freebird, or is that just
no? They don't. Fortunately, I think that's an American thing.
Oh, okay, good.
Unfortunately, they will yell other things at you, like Wonderwall or.
Okay, that's.
I've had people yelling Credence.
That's different, at least.
Fortunately, Credence is in my wheelhouse, so I can usually humor them for that one. But
I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see that. Monkey Man is the third track on the album, and this is kind of like pulling a page out of James Brown's playbook. It's got a lot of soul. There's some great rhythms going on there, and your vocals go towards that soulful part of the spectrum. What was the inspiration behind Monkey Man?
Well, it goes back to my bass player because he slaps that thing like no tomorrow. And if I need to tune up or if I break a string or something, I don't even have to look at him, and he's already up the front of the stage just slapping it, and people going wild. So that's just like a jam we'd always do, and then recorded in his basement.
That's great.
I'll give Harry credit for that one, but probably also have to give Freddie King as much credit.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah. No, it's great. A lot of fun. Very fun song. And then the vibe kind of changes when you go to NWO. So what was the inspiration behind writing that song?
I don't know. It's just my attempt at a political thing, the state of the world. Feeling a certain way when I'm playing my guitar in a park.
Yeah.
That's just where that came from. I don't know. It was an afternoon. I think I wrote like 4 songs in this park in about 4 or 5 hours, just sitting there. So that one's like one of the easy ones that just came to me instantly, you know. Gotta love that.
Yeah. Well, there's a bit of a prophetic feel to it. New World Order is coming for you.
Yeah. It's like you got to have a dark kind of down one on the record. So
yeah. This may be my favorite on their album too. So
I prefer Kind of Forward too. That's cool.
Yeah, but I really like that. Other Dude Blues.
That actually might be my favorite. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's up there too.
Your guitar goes off
on
this one.
That was just another one that we just jammed in the studio, and then it's a shame because I really loved the vocal that was originally on there from the live take. It was like so present and just right there, but the song was only half written, so I had to redo it.
Well, it
kind of lost some of the magic, but the magic's still there on that rhythm track.
Yeah.
Especially the drums, like Lukey's drumming on that is just so back, you know. It's just like, there's nothing more badass than that. It's like, doesn't matter how hard you hit it. There's just like something about that back feel. It's just gets you.
Yeah, I think that this one, the drums definitely shine, and I think your guitar shines brightly on this song. A lot of great guitar work on it. And it's a fun little lyric about, you know, whoever the other dude is. Inside Looking Out is I like that song a lot as well.
So that's a cover. That's Eric Burden. That's my dude. Yeah. That's the guy who first really inspired me to play blues.
You know, I hear a lot of people talk about a lot of different artists that inspire them musically. This is the first time I've heard anybody really attribute Eric Burden as much as you have. That's interesting. And I guess it just goes back to those skateboarding videos.
I guess it was. I've been obsessed with him for so long now. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's just so powerful. Like he's the man in terms of like the white boys trying to sing it, you know?
Yeah.
Butterfield's amazing too. But I found out about Butterfield later. You know, it's just the fact that I was 12, 13 and that was the dude that just first got me. So he'll always have my heart.
No, you never forget your first time, right? But you do good service to Eric Burden in this because your vocals just absolutely wail, and as the song builds, the vocals explode, the guitar explodes, and it's just a really well done version of that song.
Yeah, that song's just so heavy.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine that that's from like mid-60s, you know.
Yeah. Why did you choose that song?
I've loved that song my whole life. I've just always sung it. So that key, it's like, I don't know. I think me and Eric Bowden, maybe we have a similar like range of key because I slip nicely into G just like he does. And yeah.
Have you ever seen him live?
No, I haven't actually. I don't know why. I think he came to Australia, but not very often.
Yeah. I think he's how old is he now?
He's like 80 something. Still killing the game with like a 30-year-old girlfriend or whatever.
He's 83. 83.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Then the album finishes out with the song that we'd mentioned before that you wanted to call "Trim the Fat," but it's I don't want to end up like that. And it's a fun little song. I like that.
Yeah. That one goes off live as well.
Oh, I bet you can really jam all through that thing, can't you? Because it just kind of
absolutely
lays that
open
foundation down, and you can just go off in whatever direction you want to.
For sure, it's pretty infectious groove.
Yeah,
it's like my tour manager over in Europe. He kept being like, "Man, that song, it's so annoying, but it's so catchy."
that's a great way to describe
it. Can't get out of my head.
It'll worm its way into your brain, that's for sure. So, what's next for you musically? Right now, you're playing some shows around Australia, but what else do you have in store?
Well, I've been doing about a month or 2 months in Europe each year, and I obviously want to book this tour over in the States. I have a few connections that I'm talking to, so look to make that happen. I hear that Florida's great, and I want to do Pacific Northwest, and yeah, I go to California every time I'm there. Obviously,
yeah,
I've played. Sorry, did it go out?
It went out for just a little bit after you said you played the Pacific Northwest.
But yeah, it'd be great to hang out with Chris and stuff, and come to Indiana as well, and go back to Nashville, Memphis.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of like hustling all this stuff and or getting more people to help booking.
Yeah,
because it's a huge country and it's hard to link it all together. But that would be the dream.
Yeah.
Apart from that, just the next album, and just keep living the dream or living a dream.
Yeah. Well, if you make it when you make it to the States, if you want to play Louisville, where I am, I'm pretty sure we can find a spot or two that would love to have you. So we can make that happen for you. You said you'd already kind of pared down this album, a couple of songs out of that. What else do you have in the can ready to go on another album?
Oh yeah, it's happening.
Yeah,
it's all percolating at the moment. You know how it works. Eventually, then I have my day in the studio. I get them all live, and then I'll just do my overdubs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I hang out in my mate's basement, and we do demos in there. So we got no shortage of ideas in the pipeline.
Yeah, in talking with folks that have been on the show, you'll hear them play songs live that are new, and then they don't come out on an album for a year and a half. I'm like, I don't know how you can keep that contained that long, because in the meantime you've already moved on to something else with what you're working on, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'll try to slip him into the set once in a while when people aren't paying attention, because I really want to just work the song over and there's no substitute for doing that at a live gig.
Yeah.
For me, that's how I really like get the magic, you know. It's like I kind of work away in my room or whatever, and then when it's ready to come out and hatch, it's like then I still need time to develop it before I want to record it.
Right. Try it. Different tempos, different
the song has a life
lyrics
of its own, and they're constantly evolving. And if you get it too early on, sometimes it works out and it's super cool, and other times it's better later. So you never really know. Sometimes you get that first take magic where it's just the best thing you've ever done, but
right.
Usually it's the case that I want to develop things a bit.
Yeah. First take magic, like on your vocals on Other Dude Blues you were talking about, right? Where you do it and it just kind of hits, and you can't catch that in a bottle.
But that's right. And yeah, people always end up going back to their demos and things.
Yeah. So Jesse, what else would you like to tell folks about? What else do we need to know about you and your music, and where we can find everything that you're doing?
Yeah, just like you said, all the usual platforms. I mean, you can email me, get yourself a vinyl record if you want. Got some vinyls. And,
okay, yeah. What I looked online because there's a merch section on your website, and it had said there was some vinyl available on one of your albums, but it was sold out. But do you have vinyl available now?
Yeah, for sure. I need to update that.
Okay.
I just prefer if people email me directly, because then I don't have to give anyone else a cut.
Okay. Well, I will email you directly. What all do you have on vinyl? Everything?
I've got just the first two albums. The third one's still in production. It takes forever, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I'm Coming On was 2017, I think. And this was your 2020 album. At what point of 2020 did this come out? Was this before COVID blew the world up, or was this during or after? Well, it wasn't really after.
All of the above. So the way I release, I'll just do a track at a time and then eventually I'll just dump the rest, you know? So I usually do like 4 or 5 singles, and then I'm like, there you go, that was an album. The way people are these days, and no attention span. They just want one thing at a time. So you just give them a trickle of content.
Right. You trickle out the content, the singles, and then you release the album later, which is opposite of the way it used to be, where you might get one single before the album release, and then you get the album, and then they release singles, but just not the way
the game's changed, hasn't it? You know, labels are pretty obsolete. It's just a different world.
Well, what you've done in, I guess now 3 studio albums and a live album, which that's not I didn't see that on the streaming service on Spotify, but
that one's on there.
Is it?
Unless it got taken. Oh, it might have got taken down. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. But you've in the last 7 years or so, you've put out some fantastic music. I'm very appreciative to Chris to have shared that and been able to see that because I really, really enjoy what you're doing. Just talent and ability, and it comes obviously from hard work and dedication to the craft. But from your vocals to your songwriting to the way you structure your songs, and then adding that harmonica in there, it's just a great combination. It's just, like I say, it's a master's level class in the blues.
So, thanks, brother. I really appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
So I'll look forward to seeing what you're doing next, and definitely when you put out the next album, we'll get you back on, and definitely when you get over to the States, we'll try to find a way to hook up and see Jesse Redwing live. Now, do you bring your whole band when you come over?
I probably won't be able to bring them to the States because it's impossible to get visas. Plus, Harry's pretty much retired from traveling now. I mean, he gets around Australia, but going international is a bit much for him.
Yeah.
And the Red Wiggle will probably have my drummer, so
we could probably
hopefully Chris can help me out. You know, he can hook me up with a band.
Yeah, we could help you find some people, I'm sure.
I mean, if he's not busy, I'd love to have him play with me.
Oh, yeah, that would be a lot of fun. That'd be a whole lot
We
of
had
fun.
a fun jam over there in Europe. He came
Yeah.
down and shredded some acts with me
Yeah.
on a song of mine, Buried at Sea. He loved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, great song.
Yeah.
And he tells me that you're playing harmonica on a song on his solo album.
I hope I get to.
Yeah.
The link expired, so I don't have the files.
Well, hopefully it's not lost in cyberspace somewhere.
It's in the ether. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll resend it. I can get it done.
Yeah, that'll be great. He couldn't have picked a better harmonica player for what he's doing too. So that'll be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I love his stuff. He's great.
All right. Well, Jesse, one more time, tell everybody where they can find you on social. You're
all of them: Instagram,
all of them?
Facebook.
Yeah.
Well, not X, not quite all of them. Not X, not TikTok.
Yeah,
just the one that normal people use, pretty much. Facebook, Instagram,
and YouTube. Yeah, some good video stuff on YouTube as well.
Oh yeah, YouTube.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, you need to put more YouTube content out there. You've got some good stuff there. You can really populate that.
Yeah, I'm working on getting some more videos made for this record. You know, I had some people say they wanted to do it, but haven't chased them up.
Yeah,
Hopefully get it done soon. I want to do one. He wants to do one for Other Dude Blues.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. All right. Well, again, thank you very much for being on with us. Look forward to everything else that you've got ahead of you. You're doing some great work in Australia, and hopefully we can help spread the word a little bit up here in our neck of the woods.
You're a legend, brother. Thank you for having me.
All right.
I'm excited, man. The next couple of years, it's all going to happen.
Yeah. No, I think you're on the trajectory. You're definitely on the trajectory.
It's just getting better and better.
Yeah.
What can I say? Like I'm having a ball, so hope everyone else is enjoying it too.
Yeah.
It's just a bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, guys.
So I hope you enjoyed the show with Jesse. Really cool guy. A lot of fun. And I do very much encourage you to check out his music anywhere you stream it. Or as he said during our conversation, you can email him and he will send you some vinyl. So again, Jesse, thank you very much for being on the show. Had a great time with you. Wish you nothing but the very best. And as for our show, again, we are on YouTube. And if you want to watch us, we are on several podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, and Google. If you just want to listen, we have a Facebook page where we post all of our shows. We have a Facebook group where we will post what we're listening to, what we're drinking while we're listening to it, and just get to share some fun facts about whatever we may be into at the moment. So until next time, cheers, love, and Freebird. Good pop. Night.